Good morning, students. So, we were discussing chapter number 4, Agriculture. In this chapter, till now, we have understood about the different types of agriculture, as well as we have understood the definitions of agriculture, sericulture, pisciculture, viticulture, and horticulture. We have understood the farm system, types of farming. In the types of farming, we have understood the subsistence farming and the two different types of the subsistence farming, that is intensive and the primitive. In primitive, we have seen shifting cultivation and nomadic herding. The another form of agriculture is the commercial farming. In the commercial farming also, we have seen the different types of the commercial farming, like mixed farming, commercial grain farming, and the plantations. Today we are going to start another topic, that is major crops. So, a large variety of crops are grown to meet the requirement of the growing population. Crops also supply raw materials for agro-based industries. Major food crops are wheat, rice, maize, and millets. Jute and cotton are fiber crops. Important beverage crops are tea and coffee. So, students, as you know very well, that the large varieties of the crops are grown to meet the requirement or the needs of the growing population. Day by day, the population is increasing, and this growing population requires the huge amount of food as well as different crops. Crops also supply raw material to number of industries, and these industries are basically agro-based industries. Major food crops are the wheat, rice, maize, millets, jute, and cotton are the fiber crops. Yes, there are three types of basic crops, that is food crop, fiber crop, and beverage crop. So, what are the food crops? Wheat, rice, maize, millets, pulses, these all the things are called as the food crops. The crops which are used for the consumption. The another type of crop is the fiber crop. So the fiber crop are the jute and cotton. As you know very well that from the jute and the cotton we get the fiber to make the clothes, and that's why these crops are categorized as the jute and cotton, as the fiber crops. And the third one is the beverage crop. Beverage crops are basically tea and coffee. You know very well, tea and coffee are we are using regularly in our day-to-day life in the form of beverage, and therefore the tea and coffee are the two beverage crops grown in our country. Now we are going to see some of the major crops found in the world. First of all, rice. You know, the rice is the major food crop of the world. Why it is major food crop of the world? Because it is the staple diet of the tropical and subtropical regions of the world. Most of the population of the world resides in the tropical and subtropical region, and therefore the we can say the rice is the very important crop for these people, those who are living here, and the huge amount of rice is consumed by the people of the world, and therefore it is called as the staple diet of the most of the people of the world. Rice, and we can say therefore the rice is the major crop. Rice needs particular type of geographical condition. Now what it requires for the proper growth of rice? It requires high temperature, it requires high humidity level, and it also requires the good amount of rainfall. That means if we want to do the agriculture or grow the crop of rice, for that we require high temperature, high humidity, and heavy rainfall. Now the very important thing is what kind of soil it requires. So it requires alluvial clay soil. It requires alluvial clay soil. Now where this alluvial clay soil are found? These are normally found in the region where the we can say the in the north and the northeast as well as northwestern part of our country. These kind of soil is found, and this soil need to be the quality that can retain the water. Means the soil requires the quality that can retain the water. Retain means what? To hold the water. Why to hold the water? Because the rice is the crop which requires a huge amount of water, and if the soil will absorb the water, then what will happen? This water will not be available for the plants, and therefore uh, the soil for the growth of the rice should be of the quality of retaining water. China is the country which leads in the production of the rice, and followed by India, Japan, Sri Lanka, and Egypt. In favorable climate conditions, as in West Bengal and Bangladesh, 2-3 crops are grown in a year. That means in the world, China leads, and followed by India, Japan, Sri Lanka, and Egypt, and as well as in the countries like West Bengal and Bangladesh, where the climatic conditions are very favorable, 2 to 3 crops are grown every agricultural year. Now, the another crop that we are going to understand is the wheat. Wheat. It requires moderate temperature and rainfall during growing season and bright sunshine at the time of harvest. You know very well, in our region, means in the region of Maharashtra, the wheat crops are grown especially in the winter season. Why? Because it requires moderate temperature. It doesn't require so harsh climatic condition, as well as so harsh means so low, means we can say it requires a moderate type of temperature conditions. The temperature of the atmosphere should not be so high or so low, and therefore we can say that it requires the moderate type of temperature, as well as it requires moderate rainfall also. And at the time of its harvest, that means जब इन वीट के खेत को काटा जाता है, उस समय में ब्राइट सनशाइन का होना काफ़ी ज़रूरी होता है, बिकॉज इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू ड्राई द wheat at the time of harvesting. It thrives best in well drained loamy soil. It requires well drained loamy soil. Well drained loamy soil means which kind of soil? Which can absorb the water properly. Which can absorb the water properly. In that kind of soil, this wheat can grow properly. Wheat is grown extensively in USA, Canada, Argentina, Russia, Ukraine, Australia, and in India. In India, it is grown in the winter season, as I've already told you. Now, another crop that we are going to discuss is the millets. They are also known as coarse grains. Why they are called as the coarse grains? Because the level of the we can say gluten, or is very low over here in this type of we can say crops. When you make the dough of these crops, you will see that the stickiness, if you will make the dough of wheat flour, there is a stickiness in it. But millets are not, all the millets are not having the stickiness in it when you make the dough of it. Why? Because these are coarse grains and can be grown grown on less fertile and sandy soil. So millets can be grown in any kind of less fertile or sandy soil also. It is hardy crop. Hardy means it is very tough and it can survive in any kind of condition. Any kind of means in the normal to a little harsh condition also, this kind of crop can be survived. Uh, it needs low rainfall, high to moderate temperature, and adequate rainfall. Jowar, bajra, ragi, and are grown in India. Other countries are Nigeria, China, and Niger. So in this type of countries, the millets are grown in a proper way. So jowar, bajra, ragi are the main millet crops, we can say. Now the next crop that we are going to understand is maize. Maize requires moderate temperature, rainfall, and lots of sunshine. Maize requires moderate temperature. That means, like the in the same way as the wheat requires the moderate temperature as well as the rainfall and lots of sunshine, this crop also requires the same. It also grows in the properly in the well-drained fertile soils. Maize is grown in North America. Now where this crop is grown properly, so these crops are grown in the countries like North America, Brazil, China, Russia, Canada, India, and Mexico. The next crop is the very important crop, that is cotton. Cotton is very important. Why the cotton is important? Because the cotton is the fiber crop, and with the help of the fiber of this cotton, we whatever the clothes we are wearing right now are made. So let's try to understand the cotton. So cotton requires high temperature, light rainfall, 210 frost-free days, and bright sunshine. For its growth, it grows best on black and alluvial soils. China, USA, India, Pakistan, Brazil, and Egypt are the leading producers of cotton. It is one of the main raw material for the cotton textile industry. So, cotton requires high temperature. That means it requires the temperature which is high, as well as it requires light rainfall. It doesn't require so much of rainfall, because if the huge amount of rainfall comes, then the plants of the cotton can be ruined. So therefore it is very important to have the high temperature and light rainfall. And yes, very importantly, it requires 210 frost free days and bright sunshine. It requires bright sunshine for its proper growth. And now, what kind of soil it requires? It requires black and alluvial soil. Especially, it requires the regular soil. On the Deccan Plateau where we live in the Maharashtra, this Deccan Plateau is covering with the black cotton soil. This regular soil is also called as the black cotton soil. So black cotton soil or the regular soil is very important for the growth of the cotton, as well as it can be grown in the alluvial soil. Now, what are the names of the countries where it is grown in a huge amount? So China, USA, India, Pakistan, Brazil, and Egypt are the leading producers of cotton. It is one of the main raw material for the cotton textile industry. Now, another fiber crop is the jute. Jute was also known as the golden fiber. It grows well on alluvial soil and requires high temperature, heavy rainfall, and humid climate. This crop is grown in the tropical areas. India and Bangladesh are the leading producers of jute. So jute was also known as the golden fiber. Why it is called as the golden fiber? Because its color looks like the golden color, and therefore it is called as the golden fiber. It grows well on the alluvial soil. What kind of soil it requires? It requires alluvial soil, and as well as it requires the high temperature, heavy rainfall, and yes, very importantly, it requires the humid climate. That means for the proper growth of the jute, it requires the humid climate. This crops is grown in the tropical areas of the world, especially in countries like India and Bangladesh. These two countries are leading in the jute production. You would have seen that the gunny bags, or in the grocery shop, or sometimes the bags, sometimes if you will see, some clothes are also made from the jute, as well as some bags are made from the jute. Initially, in the middle time, the use of the jute was decreasing continuously, but some of the efforts of the government are some of the efforts of the government, or the steps taken by the government, are promoting the production of the jute from the farmer, so that the use of the use of the jute will increase, and there will be the less use of the plastic. Instead of using the plastic bags, the jute bags should be used, and therefore the government is trying to promote the production of the jute fiber or the jute in the farms by the farmers. So in this way we can say the way jute is also a very important fiber crop. In the next period we are going to see the another crop, that is coffee, tea, and then we will see the agricultural development. So till then, if you have any doubt, you can ask me after watching this video. Thank you very much.